Oh,
I like
is the mic on?
I like the
Testing
chat.
it is.
1, 2. I thought I was gonna have some
Wow.
some music to come in on, you know, like a little Biggie Smalls or something. I love
Mom
it
has to
when
like
you
walk
come
into the room.
That's the theme music, right? Awesome. Well, my friends, welcome back to the Smoky Mirror Podcast. This is your boy, Big Smoke, and I'm in here with my family today. So you know the purpose of the podcast is to bring on guests who can educate, inspire, or just provoke thought. And today I brought in my family because selfishly I just wanted to bring them on and chit chat, but I also think it'd be interesting perspective just to hear from my family. So guys, thank you. I have my beautiful mother.
Hello.
Her name's Nicole. I have
We call her Lady Mother.
we call her Lady Mother, right?
Lady Mother.
That's her
From
true
all
title.
My
Right.
British television shows. Yes.
And then we have Globert, aka well, his name's Cliff, but we call him Globert,
Among others.
among other things, right?
Among others.
And then we have my sister Kendall.
Yo.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming on the show.
Thanks for having
Again,
us.
thank you.
I got to give you guys mad props, Mom, Cliff, because, and if you guys don't know, Cliff is also my stepdad, but they did a great job raising me. I really appreciate you guys for raising me and showing me so much love because I say most people that I run into don't have the family environment that I was blessed to have. And so I really appreciate you guys showing me all that love. Maybe want to show love to other people. And that spawned this podcast. And so
Wonderful.
I definitely appreciate that.
Thank you. So what makes you feel like you had a great upbringing? Like what makes you?
Yeah.
How do you like? How did
I know?
How do you know? Yeah.
I just felt a lot of love and support, especially from obviously you guys, but like grandparents, aunts, uncles, just the environment, the expectations that were set of me, like the boundaries, like all that kind of stuff helped me develop into a productive human being. And I can see that as love. Like it's less about just, oh, I love you and here I got you some stuff, but just the way I was raised, the resources you guys gave me. I always had things I needed. I was always fed, I was challenged amply. I went to mathnasium because Mom needed me to get my math scores up. It's like even stuff like that. Like other kids, they doing bad in school. It's just, hey, study harder or whatever. Not everybody can go to mathnasium, get a tutor. So, I just really appreciate that.
Oh, good. Well, we're grateful you feel that way.
Especially you, Globert, because, I'm not your biological kid. You could have been like, man, this dude, this guy, I can't even. So, like, walk me through that, because it had to have been, was it weird? Was it a challenge? Like, what was it like?
Not a challenge at all. Not a challenge at all. I think the beginning, once I met your mom, and she said, I have a son. And it was no, what do I say? It was no negotiation. Like,
right.
You're either with us or you're not. It can't be you're with me and not with him. So because I loved her, it was seamless. It was easy. So, like, I've had that question asked before, and people, I guess, look for, a long, drawn-out answer, or did you really have to think about it? And I really didn't. Like, for me, I think the best thing, and we always laugh about it, and it's like God takes care of fools and babies. And your mother at that point was not a baby. So
But I was a fool.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Because, and I forgot which time it was, but I came to, where were we at then? Schaumburg.
In Illinois. And so it was, Cliff was living in Atlanta, right? So coming back and forth, and had never even been around a baby like before.
Right.
And I remember having to go to work, and I asked you, who was like 3, I said, "Do you want to go to daycare, or do you want to stay here with Cliff?" And you were like, "I want to stay with Tiff." So I was like, "There we go. There we have it. You are now in charge of a toddler." And I was like, "All right, y'all, see ya." And I went to work. So tell them about how you took Jordan to McDonald's
Oh, so
breakfast?
we go to McDonald's, and I'm not even sure if I asked, like, did you want to go to McDonald's or what have you. So we end up at McDonald's, order him something, order myself something, and I'm sitting there and I'm eating. And I don't know, at that time I might have had a newspaper because I keep thinking I'm looking down. So I'm eating, I'm looking down, and then I just notice, I look up, and Jordan is just sitting there. He's sitting there. Now, he hasn't said a word. He hasn't said anything. He's just looking at his food. And I'm just like, my first thing was like, why won't he eat? Like, the food is right there. Like, eat it. Didn't realize that he was not there yet. So from that perspective, it was just like, oh, you have to cut his food. Like, you have to help him out. So
I'm sitting there looking at it.
right,
Like,
you're just looking
hello?
at it. But like, that's the best thing about you. It's like, you're chill. So it was no like crying, no I'm mad. It was just, I mean, I guess this guy, he'll figure it out sooner or later, but we're just gonna sit here. And so it's when you had said, thank you to us, it's more thank you because we had something to, if you want to say like a sculpture, like we had something to work with. Mm-hmm. And ultimately we kind of worked around your innate abilities, your mindset, your attitude, your chillness, even at that age. And I can say that for me. Your mother, she can obviously speak for herself, but it's like, for me, it was simple. It was seamless. Same with Kendall. It's like you guys have been easy. So when other parents a lot of times, talk about different things, and everyone has their issues or trials and tribulations. But for us, it really has been just, there's been bumps in the road, obviously, but for the most part, everything's been kind of seamless and easy, and we appreciate that.
Kendall did cry a lot, though.
I
didn't think I was much of a crier.
I thought she was a crier. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? I thought she was crying a lot. I feel like I even had to tune it out sometimes. Like, she'll get tired eventually.
See, I think that might be your youth. I like literally, and it's also gets to a point where how many babies have you been around?
Right, exactly.
So,
Right.
It gets to like, if she cries like, once a day or twice a day, you're like, I don't think I'm going to be able to take this. And then other parents be like, that's all she cried was that many times a day or whatever the case may be.
Sorry, Kendall. I didn't mean to throw you under the bus like that.
That's why I spit up on you.
I was changing your diapers. Literally.
But I remember when you were born, Jay, when babies come out, they come out, crying and loud. And you were just, my version of that is you were just kind of like, hey, guys, it's cold. You weren't like, It was more like, oh, hey, just, it's a little uncomfortable. Could you guys, wrap me up?
I've been at manners.
Yeah, just like super chill, super easy.
That's awesome. So I guess we never really talk about this, Mom. Like, what was it like when you first had me and then you was single and deciding to move and all that? Like, what was that like?
Yes. So, my unplanned blessing. That's what I always refer to you as. I remember. So I had planned to move to Charlotte with the $500 I had in my savings account.
But in the 80s, that's like $1,000, right? Or 90s. I'm talking about the 80s. How old am I?
Like, that would make you like super old. Yeah. But shout out to my mom, because I remember her. I had a little bit of money, and my mom was like, let's buy a savings bond. So put the savings bond away. You just, it appreciates or whatever. So when I was planning on moving to Charlotte with my friend, it had increased to like $500. So I was gonna pack up sight unseen and moved to Charlotte with my friend. At the time, Charlotte was considered like the second Wall Street. Like, it had a lot of banks. I started my career working in banking, and I was like, well, I can go get a bank job. And then lo and behold, a pregnancy test told me I wasn't going to Charlotte. So yes, so that was a bit of a monkey wrench in my program, but it was just kind of like, wow, this is it. So I gotta make a choice, and for me it was to keep you, right? because you get these moments like, oh my gosh, this wasn't how I had anticipated my life to be. But I'm just like, for myself, that was the right decision for me. Because I always wondered, like, what if this is my only shot? Like, what if this is the only time that I have to get pregnant? And I am all for a woman being able to choose to do whatever she needs to do for her body, but that was the decision for me, and it was the right decision for a couple of reasons. One, you know, me being your mom, like all of a sudden I had to throw out. I remember this was super symbolic of me becoming a mom. I remember being pretty pregnant, so probably about 7 months or so, and I had these leather like short shorts that I had. Whoa. Look at Kendall's face. I had these leather short shorts that I had, and I was like, I have to throw these out because like I'm somebody's mom. I'm like, I can't be like at the club looking like a hoochie mama. So I remember that was like my defining moment of like stepping into motherhood. Yeah, stepping into motherhood. And so, you know, things didn't work out with your dad and I. And
but shout out to Henry.
Shout out to Hank. Shout out to Joanna, your stepmom.
Shout out.
You know, things that didn't work, and so it was just kind of like, all right, I still needed to. Oh, let me back up. So one, it was the right thing. It was the right decision for me. Second, when we tried to get pregnant with Kendall, I had fertility issues, which I was unaware of. So, you know, this moment of, you know, when the doctor's like, you can't have, you know, like you got issues, you have to now. You know, go through the fertility process. I'm like, see, now what if I can't, you know, what if I couldn't do it? You know, I still would have my son. Like, what if this doesn't work? And then the third reason why it was the right thing to do too was because my father died the year that you were born. So I would have, you know, been in Charlotte, right, working at a bank, and not have had that, you know, that time with my dad. My dad died 3 months after you were born. So, you know, it just worked for all the right reasons. And after living at home for about a year, you know, it's just like it was time for me to replant so that I could bloom. You know what I mean? And I remember your dad and I have visited Chicago for a family member's graduation. Shout out to Gail. And
shout out to Gail.
Yeah, shout out to Gail, who graduated from DePaul University.
Shout out to Gina too.
And shout out to Gina, who just got married.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And I remember thinking like, you know what, I really like it here. Of course, I had come in this summer. So that was some trickery right there. Let it be known.
I was like, how did we end up here?
and because I was going to move to Charlotte sight unseen, because I had you, I couldn't go anywhere sight unseen. So I went down there, you know, spent the weekend, didn't love it. And I was just like, now what? I remember coming home like, now what? Like, I want to get out of Buffalo and I don't know where to go next. And so I thought about Charlotte. Your Aunt Sherry had been there for about a year. Shout out to Aunt Sherry.
Big shout out to Aunt Sherry.
Yep. And
Ray.
Yep.
And Ray. Yeah, because they took care of me. They you know, made sure we were good. You know, I applied for my master's degree, and you know, Aunt Sherry was just like, we'll watch Jordan every Thursday while you work and then go to class. Yeah. So, you know, it takes a village, and definitely don't regret the pathway, because it was part of the woman that I became, right? You know, all those steps to get me to here, you know, was, you know, us going through all of that stuff. So yeah, packing up, me and my 18-month-old,
yep,
heading to the big city.
Man, that was crazy. We had our little Schaumburg apartment. And you met Cliff over the phone?
Yeah.
How did that even work? A friend of y'all's like hooked y'all up, like a mutual
friend hooked us up. Basically, I think at the time I was in Illinois.
Oh, Illinois.
And moving to Atlanta. I was trying to get warm. So see, me and you, we were
same. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So trying to get to Atlanta. So the job that I had in Illinois, they had a office in Atlanta. So probably, I don't know, 2-3 weeks before I was leaving, this young lady said, hey, I got a friend that might be coming down there. because obviously your mom would come down when you were with your dad, and so either like bringing you back or however that situation would be. So I think you were going to come out to Atlanta to pick Man up, if I'm not mistaken. No?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, you were going to pick him up. And she said, if you go out there, I know somebody
Okay.
in Atlanta. Wow, this is
Mom's like, this is news to me.
This has become like the Twilight Zone.
Right.
Yes. Yes. So what is your
I just
recount that.
remember meeting someone here or in Illinois, and she's like, "Oh, I know a guy who is really nice," and I just remembered us
that was me
connecting over.
So
to,
at least get that right.
Oh, right, yeah, it was
That right.
you,
Yeah.
and and I just remember her saying, I just remember us talking on the phone the first time. I don't remember all the stuff that.
See how I remember those things?
The details,
No, I'm
right?
glad.
See, he be talking about.
Detail-oriented.
He be saying he doesn't have no memory, but
Yeah, some of those things I do, yes, vividly.
I guess if people don't know, so like I would travel. My dad lived in Atlanta. We lived in Illinois, so I would travel back and forth on the plane.
Right.
Mom would make people be on the plane with me until I was 30 years old.
I still make you ride with people.
Oh my gosh!
I remember your dad being like, when are you gonna let him fly on his own? I said, when they stop kidnapping kids and they stop hijacking planes. I remember that was my response. I know, so ridiculous, but
So
I think the best
But
part
as a
about that
mom.
is like Man was like big.
As
like,
big as a stewardess?
Like
Like-
he was big as us. So like literally, we get up to the terminal, get up to the gate, and it's just like, yeah, we have to accompany him.
like, sorry,
And
he's
it's
only
like-
11,
Right.
but he's giant.
right, he's a giant. He's a giant.
Man, that's so funny.
So
All right.
yeah, it was a mutual friend, and to add a little bit to that, it was literally our first phone call, and your mother thought I was the most country person in the world when she
can
first
say-
when she first called, but literally I said, and this is so let's make sure we're on the same page with this.
Okay, let's see.
So she said, I said, what are you doing? And she said, I'm studying or working.
Because I was
And
getting my
s-
MBA.
Yes, getting your MBA, shout out. And she said, I'm studying globalization. Oh, I was like, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm
Like,
good.
You,
Yeah,
you
I'm
know,
good.
a woman who can talk about globalization.
I'm
I
good.
remember that.
Yep.
I
Yeah, we
remember
won.
that.
We
I
won.
remember that.
And literally from that point on, we fast forward to today.
Hey, I gotta admit, you know how to pick him.
That's right.
That was nice. Her globalization,
Globalization.
check.
That's a magic word.
Sight unseen.
Sight unseen.
Sight unseen.
That's crazy. Did you know that story, Kendall?
Only bits and pieces of it.
Where's your?
I found out that you would write like love letters and poems to her.
Aw.
I like don't see this man read, right? He just sits up on his like back all day. I'm like jokes. I'll be like, I didn't know you could read. I didn't know you knew how to write.
Hey, I have talents. I have many talents.
Yeah, he used to
Many talents.
write like poetry
Many
and
Aw.
yeah, and like now, yeah,
I just recite it.
yeah.
Now he doesn't respond to your text message.
All Glob do is,
Right.
is hoop.
Yeah, exactly.
All Glob do is hoop and watch hooping videos
And go to work.
and go to work, which is
Go
hooping.
to work, which is hooping. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. First day was at Denny's, right?
Yes.
Wow.
But yeah, wait.
That wouldn't
Like,
fly in 2021,
wait,
gentlemen.
Everyone
Not at
gets. Wait, whoa.
But I love to tell people like, yeah, it's first date.
Right,
You know, the first
right.
time he
Let's-
took me out on a date was at Denny's.
And the reason why,
It was super late.
right?
Oh,
it's
okay.
And we
12 o'clock.
we just wanted
Nothing else was
something.
open.
Yeah.
But,
okay, fair
but the
enough.
story, you know, talking, you know,
story
saying that
is
you took
funny.
me to Denny's on the
Good,
first
right.
date is kind of
It's funny.
it's funnier.
But you introduced me to.
Belgian waffles
Belgian
and
waffles.
strawberries.
And he loves Belgian waffles. Wow. Did you know? I didn't
Loves
know that.
Loves them.
I thought you always loved them.
No.
Shout out to mom.
No.
Shout out to mom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Did you have a conversation with my dad, Glob? Like, yo, I'm about to raise your kid, but
We never talked. We never had a conversation. And it'd be interesting to get his side of it or his take. But we never had a conversation. I think your mom was the person that basically was the bridge. I mean, you almost want to say obviously, but I know in speaking to people, the biggest thing that your mom did was for for us, it was you were the most. I can't even say you were the most important thing. You were the only thing that mattered, and I think too. You shout out to us. Obviously, shout out to Joanna, Hank,
Definitely shout out to them.
Grandma. Like it's
grandmother.
Yep, grandmother, comedy, everybody.
Because I think the whole situation could be. I don't want to say. I would almost like contentious. This is someone else's. This is someone's son, and it could have a potential to be raised by another man. And I think your mom's whole position was, as long as our solutions, the things that we thought about, all centered around you, then you never really had time to think about yourself, or I don't like this, or this might not be the situation that I want. And it just made it, in my opinion, it made it seamless.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I would take that back to you and say, did you feel any tension or lacking when we would be together, whether it's graduations and different things like that? You would think it was, I would think you thought it was like, that's like everybody's family is like that. And I don't think that's necessarily the case.
Yeah, like I definitely was. I wouldn't say I'm kind of surprised that y'all didn't communicate, because it seems like y'all was on the same page. That's why I was like, wow.
Yep.
And like there was no drama really, like that I could see. I don't know if there was. Y'all hit it, and like I really like. Again, that's why I say I thank you, because I could see how it could easily been some drama and somebody not happy about the situation.
Yep.
So big shout out to my dad and Joanna, because they were also on the same page.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I just appreciate that immensely.
It's really around. What happens is that adults put their ego before the child, and I think your dad and Joanna, Cliff and I, we had this silent agreement that our egos weren't going to get in the way. So, when you get into the ego, it's like, well, I'm going to do this to him and I'm going to do that to him. Like the kid doesn't win. And so, I'm just grateful that we all had a respect for one another, had a respect for you, that we would approach it in a way that was always for your benefit. I think for us, you were always the North Star, and we would make decisions based on whether or not this would be beneficial to you or not.
Man, feels good.
Yep.
And then Kendall came along.
And then I came along. He was the blueprint. And
Kendall.
The blueprint.
The blueprint. I love
all the
it.
mistakes and like things I didn't know about childhood before, I had to work it out.
How'd you like growing up with me in the house?
I didn't. Since we're like 10 years apart, it would usually be like, I'm like 5 doing my Kumon, Like, they would like to make us do work as kids. And he'd be like in the basement gaming at age like 15. And I'm like, oh,
5.
Doing Kumon?
Yeah, I was like 5 doing my Kumon. He's in the basement at like 16 playing his Call of Duty
Playing
Ghost.
Xbox. How old were you when I left?
So if you were 18, I was like 8.
8. Oh, okay. So do you remember what was besides the Kumon? What else you remember?
I remember one time they left for something, and I was like, oh, my parents are gone or whatever, and I was like upset about it. And then you just let me sit on your lap and watch you play Call of Duty. Just something a 6-year-old should not be exposed to. It was
Like,
either
hey,
that.
you need a hug or something? All right, man. Like I need to play the game.
No, I like sit on your lap, you're like playing Call of Duty, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Yes.
See, but he knew how to calm you down. He knew how to relax you.
I guess.
And he'd be like, can I get a popsicle? You're playing a game. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Typical.
Loki calling you out, but I mean,
Loki, hey, if it's real, it's real. You know what I'm saying? We keep it real on the pod.
I was in my little, like, the ones in like the clear packaging, the freezy pops or
The
whatever.
ones where you like cut the top off and
Yeah. I've eaten those.
Yep. Oh man, those were the days.
See, man's further along than me. Like if he gets to have a child, like he's already been around.
Right. I've already. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I already
Exposed.
changed diapers and everything.
Right.
Did
I knew
you?
how to take care of a kid then. By the time I got
Right. Exactly. I know how to take care of a kid now.
Right.
I was gonna say like, since I left, did you ever be like, man, I wish Jay would hit me up more, or I wish I could talk to Jay more?
I don't know. I felt like growing up, it was almost like I was an only child, so I wasn't like dependent on you.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, obviously, it was like, oh, he's my brother. Like I'm gonna talk to him or whatever. But it's not like, oh, every single day I'm like, I want to talk to my brother. Da, 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 where I'm like breaking doors down and stuff.
Right.
But it's like we were able to be like independent from each other. I'm not like, oh my God, you talk to Jay every single day. I'm gonna like blow up.
Like even with Jada and Jasmine, you know, it's like I love my sister so much, but we didn't really get close because I never grew up with, I guess, any of them. Didn't grow up with Kendall or Jada and Jasmine.
Right.
So now, like in my adult life, I'm like, man, I really have to be intentional about like
reaching out,
maintaining the relationship as the older brother. It's definitely something that I've had to learn how to do. It's not. Lord knows I don't be the one to pick up the phone and call people. I just never been that guy to get calling, you know, or be on the phone for real.
Why not?
I don't know. I guess
does Glob do that?
it's nobody's fault, you know. But now I'm like, all right, I want to hear from them. Like I want to be a big part of their life, so I have to reach out and stuff. And we definitely be on Snapchat talking way more often now.
He's very important. He finds it very important to keep up our snap streak.
Very important.
Very important.
And I like to see it. It feels good. I'm seeing them every day now. My sisters. It feels good.
But I think too that goes with age. It's like now it's you have a little bit more in common. It's even like with Kendall. It's like the age difference. So when you're 12, you know, that's different. When you're 18, even, you know, 10, a little different. But as you're getting older, she's getting older, you guys can kind of gravitate towards Snapchat and those different things. I mean, you know, 10 years ago, you know, that's not even possible. So,
literally,
you know, those are, I think, just experience and just living, just life.
What do you think about our Snap story, Kendall?
It'd be fun. You're just like in the car snapping me, or like you're like, yo, I'm at work or whatever. I'm in my class is like, yo, look at the LFA life.
Is there anything you want me to do more or less? Like, do you want me to call you more, hit you up? Do you wish I would ask you about your life? Or sometimes I'll be wondering, like, man, do I need to, like, you know, do more? Like, what do you think as your brother?
I feel like we're chilling because, I mean, I'm also very busy too. I know I'm not running a podcast and everything, but
Still busy.
yeah, like I get up at like 6:30. I'm at school from like 8 to 3, and then I go from practice or like lift from 3:30. I'm like lifting or practicing from 3:30 to like 7. Study hours from 8 to 10. And at that point,
I'm tired.
it's 10 o'clock. It's 11 o'clock where you are. We tired.
Right.
We just did all that.
Okay. So you're saying right now, rate me on a scale of 1 to 10. How am I as a big brother?
I'm gonna give you an 11.
Nice.
Ooh,
wow.
11.
I was gonna
That
be
number
happy
two
with
for real.
8
You was
because
gonna
I would say, you know, I definitely got room for improvement. But 11, I don't know. I feel like you might be gassing me up a little bit, but I appreciate that. I
All right,
appreciate
10.5.
that. 10.5.
11, yeah, 10.5 is real. The 11 is gas.
Okay.
0.5 is gas.
Fair enough. Awesome. Well, I appreciate that, and I just want you to know, anything you need, just hit me up. $4 for laundry. You don't need to tell that story. Tell that story, Cliff, please.
So the other day, and I should already know this, but Kendall has a propensity to wait until she gets home.
From
And
boarding
again,
school.
She go to a boarding school, yeah.
She goes to a boarding school, yeah. So, you know, you hear these stories, they're on TV shows where the person is in boarding school or college or where have you, and they just wait to get home to do their laundry. And without fail, I will come home later in the evening. Nick picks up Kendall, and typically it'd be later in the afternoon or close to the evening. And without fail, I open up the door. It's going to be dark. There's going to be a laundry basket in the middle of the hallway in order to get to the kitchen. In the middle, because I've hit it numerous times. And it's just like, why? Why? So on this trip, it was, I wanted to wear my scut gear. So I literally had wore scut gear throughout the week. So I was like, oh, just toss this in on Thursday night or Friday night. I'm good to go. Yep, nope, not going to happen. Not going to happen. From, what time did you guys get home?
It's kind of late, right?
9,
You
10?
picked up at like 7.
Yeah.
Okay,
right,
so
8
9,
o'clock.
10.
8.
So from 9, 10 on Friday till 7 o'clock. No, 7 o'clock in the morning the next day, washer and dryer is going. So I was unfortunately not able to get my scut.
Rep your scut
Yeah,
gear.
it's okay though. We got.
My good scut. My
Oh,
good
you got it upside down.
Oh,
Brand.
Bam.
Yep, you got to read the brand
Bam.
guidelines that we send out.
I wasn't trying to spend my
Before
$4.
he got approved for the podcast.
Oh man, no, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
so that's always fun though. It's always
I mean,
fun.
I always wash my laundry every Sunday. It's something I just always do. And so if I come home, I'll just wash it at home with my good washer and dryer that will wash it well. But our huge washing machine, you can only put 2 items in literally at a time because it'll spaz out and go uneven the whole time. So I had to break what I usually have 2 loads, my darks and my colors, on my whites, and then I had to break my colors into like 3 different sections. So it's like, I
Right.
told him he could throw some scut gear in with my stuff. He's like, no. He has to be very particular with how he washes his clothes. I'm
I
like,
mean-
if it was that big of a deal, you should have thrown it in with me.
And you know, Cliff only has 3 outfits.
Right, he only got 3.
He's a little minimalist with it.
Maybe 5. Now that you gave him some scut gear.
Well, he has his own shirts now, so he might have.
He's a simple man. He doesn't need too much
He is
extra.
a simple,
Simple
man.
man.
He is a
Simple
simple
man.
man.
Yes.
Classic man. I have a question about like the roles, because Glob would always be cleaning and stuff, and Mom would be working. Was that ever a weird thing? Did anybody ever say anything? Or, you know, it's not quote unquote traditional for Mom not to be, you know, cooking and cleaning or whatever. Like, what do you, like, any comment on that? I didn't really know how to pose that question. Just any comment on that?
My contribution was to pay for cleaning service to come. that was my contribution.
I think for me, because being an only child and like literally even in college, like no roommate. If something was gonna get clean, it was gonna be me.
Right.
And so that's kind of how I've always been.
Mm.
Always been. So we'll leave that there.
Nice.
But no, I still would do I still
Cook.
took the responsibility to cook and
Right.
stuff like that, and I'm still
Let me see,
in
what day did you stop doing
traumatic. I stopped
that? When
cooking
you left?
Probably
You
when
left
Jay
and you-
left,
right, when
and then
Jay
I
left,
would
you
just cook
talked,
one of my
right.
3 meals.
That's 'cause
'cause I
you
don't
don't-
eat anything.
I'm gonna say you don't be at the house either, so
Right.
no, it's really like
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But
I learned how to make
Just-
tacos and pasta, and I was like, oh no,
I mean, that's literally all I know how to make too. Well, no, I take that
That's all I
back.
fed y'all. That's all y'all know how to
I was too picky to like
spaghetti.
have y'all
Eggs,
make
We're
a
gonna
right.
have
variety.
spaghetti. We're gonna
Pancakes.
have spaghetti.
No,
But
no. Let's wait. I have to. And this is gonna be quote unquote egg on my face,
Oh.
but this is awesome.
what?
So I'm going to Smoky Mirror here. You have to tell the story about the
Oh.
chicken.
Oh man, he made this
You
chicken
have
that
to-
was so
you have
bad.
to.
Oh,
I don't know what was wrong with it, but it just was not good. I don't know what it was, but it was terrible. Vegetables wasn't good. Whatever side we had was terrible.
I thought it was just. Well, the way you had said it, I thought it was just the chicken, but you have to tell the sequence in what you did with the chicken.
I just know I had to finish the chicken, or it was I don't know, some sort of discipline. Like, and I was like, okay, I put it all in my mouth and went to the bathroom, spit it out. I was like, that was the worst thing ever. I don't know why it was so bad. Like, it just was terrible. I couldn't finish it at all.
And why was there never any communication to be like, because I know I'm not like a gourmet chef, so it wouldn't be like, how dare you not.
that might have been like the
Come on,
one
Gordon
meal
Ramsay.
you cooked. Like, you know how you have that one meal that, like, you know how every day you have Belgian you have waffles.
But I
That
can do
might have
like,
been like
I
your
got,
one.
like spaghetti, even like elbow macaroni, like
I don't even.
I
I,
guess-
don't know what happened at that
It just was
day.
nasty.
it just.
Yeah, and I feel like I said something, but I don't know. I just had to eat it, or I forget the details on that one.
So
but
that was a discime.
I just remember having to spit that out. I was like, yeah, ugh.
That's not gonna work.
Yeah, that wasn't gonna work. I'm sorry.
I
Like,
feel like we talk about the time where Jay fed me raw like hamburger.
Ooh.
it was medium.
I thought it was fine, but
Did
remember,
anyone die or get dysentery or cholera or whatever?
well, before he made me
Cholera.
stop eating the food.
Yeah, we wasn't sure.
Yeah.
that was before I was a grill master.
Yeah, that was before you.
Well,
went.
you're
I was
probably like
Grill
18,
Master
so that means I
Junior.
was like 8.
I was in my apprenticeship, my grill master training.
I remember looking at it like,
And I was like, oh no, it's fine. And you're just like, I'm going to have you stop eating this.
I think you ate yours entirely.
It was good too.
Oh, didn't you
Yes.
give some to your friend too? And he's like,
Jarvis.
oh yeah, you gave it to Jarvis, and
Jarvis
Jarvis was like,
wasn't-
I'll take this home.
Most people aren't vibing with the undercooked, like medium. You know what I'm saying? Most people aren't there as well done.
It's funny. Growing up, my mom, like, because you said it about my steak, like it would have blood, or it wasn't. I love her looks, all these things. I want to just make sure I'm married to the right person, and the right person is here.
Are you a clone, mom?
Yeah,
Like,
you
wait a
clone
minute.
now?
Who was this?
Who is this?
I sent my
It's like,
representative.
look at-
My rep is right. Your assistant.
Here we go. But I always liked it. It would be just medium, and it wasn't until kind of later that I would actually say like medium well. But like I kind of go in between. It's not no big deal, but that issue is like it's more your mom. But she would say it became that way because she would just burn it. Like she would just
Right.
cook it.
I don't know how to
like,
cook it a different
but,
way.
But it was more not that she would burn it. It would be more like she didn't want to see that.
Yeah.
So she like, I'm making sure this thing is cooked.
Yeah, it's
So
well
from
done.
that, so then I became accustomed to that. So then that became the baseline for me. So if anything had any pink in it, it was like, nope, take that back. But not a big deal.
But then I started making my steak with like the perfect
Perfect
slice
clean-
of pink in the middle. But if mom sees me cook my steak, put that back in right now. It's undercooked. Can't you see? It is undercooked. There is pink.
Put it
I'm
in the
like-
microwave, zap it.
Not the microwave. Oh no.
Microwave. No, because it's like perfect when it has like when it's like fully cooked, but then there's that one like small little strip of pink.
I mean,
throughout the
yeah.
middle.
If it's not,
That's nice.
if there's no pink in there, it's gonna be tough. You're chewing. You ruin the meat. You gotta have the juices is all gone.
But then mom was like, I think it's a little undercooked, and I'm like, I think this is good. And then I have you like vouch for me. It's fine.
Oh yeah, it's good.
No, it's good, and I appreciate the cleaning every 2 weeks because I realized like, man, the bathrooms do get dirty in 2 weeks. I'd be like, yo, how does a bathroom look like this? I haven't done nothing, but yeah, just like be magically getting dirty. So
Yeah.
I'd be remembering the chores like, oh yeah, this is why we had to do it every 2 weeks because
You know?
And it's like you work full time. I commuted. I had stuff work in the evenings. Like the last thing I wanted to do on the weekends was just like spend it cleaning. Yeah,
right.
like and so it was just like, how do I outsource this? And so yeah, have
I like
Had
that
some
mom
come-
says,
outsource it? Oh.
I don't know where. Yeah, that too. That
To the
it's
children.
It's a business. It's I don't know how to work that thing. I don't know where that thing.
Oh
is.
yeah, she's like, where's the vacuum cleaner? How's the vacuum cleaner work? I'm like, I don't know. Ask
how that works.
She said,
our friend.
I
who
don't
does
know
it
how
for
that
us. I don't want to know how it works. Don't ask me how it works.
no, that's another thing. Shout out to y'all for working jobs that you didn't really love to put food on the table and provide, especially Globert. I mean, you too, Mom. You was
Yeah.
downtown all the time. Both of y'all. 14 years, 15 plus, working.
20.
Yeah.
20 years of Fifth Third, Mom?
Yeah.
Dang.
And it wasn't that I didn't. There comes a time where you want to do something different, or you begin to think about, like, is this the path that I wanted to go? But, for a really long time, I enjoyed my job. Like, to have the opportunity to use a corporation's resources to invest in communities that look like mine, underserved communities, like that was a gift. I think for me, it was really around how do I, it just became, how do I grow? How do I stop commuting all the time? What's next? How do you do it? And you just kind of, next thing you know, is 5, 6, 7 years later. And it's time for change.
And now everybody has a business.
Everybody has a
Everybody
business.
has
So
a
shout out to Kendall. She was the first entrepreneur in our family.
Tell everybody what you was doing.
Raking leaves.
Yeah.
Nice.
But even before that, you had the little plastic
Oh, I
bracelets.
would make the little
that you
rainbow
would sell.
looms.
Oh yeah.
I would make those rainbow looms.
And Mr. Smoke, he loved those.
Oh, he does.
Mm-hmm.
Those were
Mr.
nice.
Bob.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
My fishtails and everything. Those were kind of. That was a look. I saw someone. I remember we were at a restaurant or something the other day. Someone had a rainbow loom bracelet on. It was at Starbucks yesterday, actually.
Oh really?
That lady had a rainbow loom on, and I was like,
Remember?
But one thing I appreciate about you, though, Kendall, is in a lot of, I think, women and people of color, they learn this. Even me in my business, trying to figure out how do you price things. I mean, even earlier on, like to me, a kid does something, it's just like you give it away. She was like, no, I want to sell it. And I just thought that was so impressive. And I even think about your glass work that you've done. And I remember showing it to a friend of mine. Shout out to Miss Jennifer.
Shout out to her for sure.
Yeah.
Miss
And I
Rogers.
said, oh, because she's an artist. And I said, look what Kendall did. And she said, well, if Kendall gets me 4 of these blue ones, I'll pay her $100. And so I said, a friend of mine said, if you want to make these, you make $100. I said, well, maybe you can give her all 4 of them for $25.
I looked at her like she was crazy. One sheet of if you pay for one sheet of like straight like glass, it's $13 approximately. And I was like, I spend hours cutting each individual little piece of these squares, all different colors. I got the glass in my fingers and everything.
Pain.
But I think too, your
Yeah.
mom had you seen her do it?
I
actually?
didn't.
Yeah, and
I
she
didn't.
came home for was it break?
It was winter break.
Was it
Yeah.
winter break? And to start to see the time and effort that she puts into it, and it's like I'm just hearing the story in terms of the money part, but I know then it'd be like $25. Like I'm not $25 for this. Are you kidding me? Like my time, like, and you really like you sitting over there and you each individual piece.
I have to take the glass cutter, I cut it, I have to break it, I have to glue it onto the thing, I have to like stack them all up
Stack
or
'em up.
whatever.
Yeah.
I
Dang.
had to bring it back, has to get like fired in a kiln, and I have to go, I have to saw it, I have to if I have to slump it, if I want to do this shapes, then I have to saw it, then I have to put it on this thing to like smooth it out. It's a whole process.
It is.
And how'd you learn how to do all that? School?
I took glass 1 because I had to do a certain amount of art credits, so I took glass 1, and I was like, well, this is fun. It's like not super
Wow.
like impossible to do, and so
And they
all
turn
the-
out really
They
nice.
turn out really nice.
And then everything was like at the studio, so I would just like, oh, let me just make this or whatever.
Nice. You still doing that?
I haven't this year because I don't take glass this semester, but I have talked to my glass teacher, and I'm going to take advanced studio next year, so I'm going to do it some more next year.
Nice.
I said like limited resources. She's like, we can't buy that much glass right now, so just like
Limited
wait.
resources.
She's like, just wait. Like I'll put some to the side for you, but just like wait for now.
Pause on
You know,
that.
I'm trying to nurture it. So I'm like, oh, I can. What is that? A kiln? Like, I'll buy a kiln for you. She's like, Mom, you can't buy that. I'm like, but I could probably get it someone on Amazon, and you can do it at
I
home.
whipped
She's
it out.
like,
I
"Mom."
showed her on Amazon. I'm like, you realize this is like a big oven. It's like at least $500, like at the bare
I'm
minimum.
like, but if that's what you want to do, we can
Right.
do it.
Throw it in the basement.
Right.
I
put it in
thought
the
you were about to
basement.
say $500,000.
Yeah, I don't remember it being
Like
500. I remember you saying
$500.
it was huge, like
we're buying
super big.
We're buying 2 of them. Like that would not be an
Yeah,
issue.
if it's something that you love.
That-
Like,
love
but
to
still, it's like this big like oven thing, and I'm like, plus I don't even live at home. I live at home a third of the year.
Kendall's Glasswork
Like,
Company.
Kendall's Glasswork
Yes,
Company. I
right.
know it. Yeah.
K money in the studio.
K Money in the
K-Money.
studio.
That's what I would say. I would be like in the back working. I'd be like, "Ooh, K money's in the studio right now." You know, like,
I love it.
Hey,
I'd be
yeah.
back there with the
K-Money.
saw with like the headphones low key like this, so like I don't start like losing my hearing from how loud the saw is.
Right, I want to say.
I'd be like, K money in the studio for real.
K Money.
K money. But I just want to acknowledge that I love how you just were like, no, this is how much it costs. And then again, shout out to Jennifer, who's been supportive to all of us. She paid it. So
Yep.
acknowledging your worth, charging your worth, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, let me know. I might need to get some of those too.
Oh, I should get some scut colors. Like,
Right.
I was like black,
Yeah.
white, red.
Yeah. I definitely put it in my order.
Put your order in.
Man, that's exciting. So yeah, she was the first entrepreneur, and then now we have Mom and Glauber. Their
Yeah.
companies.
I believe he's calling Globbert. Oh my
like
God.
that?
They're gonna be like, "Who's this guy talking about?"
What is that?
Talking about
What have you guys learned since starting y'all's businesses?
it's always ladies first.
I'm going to hand it over to you because I need to think about that for a minute.
Oh yeah, mine's simple. Literally, for me, it's been the old adage. You do something you love, you never have to work a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy what I do. I enjoy helping kids. And I know, like right now, my wife is looking at me. Yes, I have, because I think because I'm passionate about this, I get very passionate even with the kids. So there's a level of frustration that I sometimes have with it because I want them to reach, their level or their potential. But that's kind of a sidebar. But to your question, I've learned that, again, you do something that you truly enjoy. And, the things that I did in advertising for over 20 years, when your mom was talking about it, how I think in the beginning you get a job and, whatever it is, and you do it and you do it well, do it to the best of your ability. But I think it becomes the people. And I remember people coming and going, whether you might have got laid off or you wanted another job and things like that. And people would just keep talking about the people. It was never about the work. And I think when you're in a situation where you have something that you truly enjoy, the work, and then you have the people, and then that's seamless. Like, that's just like, yeah, I enjoy going every day. Because I even we like talk about it like, oh, if you win the lottery and things like that, like, would you still do it? And like, for me, I would. Like, that's how much I enjoy what I do. Mm-hmm. So I wish I had taken the advice of your mother. It's 5 years that I've now had my own business. Probably then you would say like 10 years ago. Because she had talked about that before, but it was a risk. It was being uncomfortable. And just like you guys were talking about me, like, I'm simple. I like things a certain way. And once I like it, then, I kind of ride with it. I go with it. And that's kind of how my job was, frustrating. I know Kendall would talk about that now, but it was like I would go to work and I would do the best job that I could. But your mom would be like, I know you have more in you. You could do better. And I've just never, in that sense, in that world, I just never had that mentality. It was just almost like a worker bee. Yeah. Like, you tell me what to do, I'll do it, and here we go. And your mom had always talked about it. And it literally was one day where I, if you want to say, had enough. And I was like, okay, get uncomfortable. And it's so funny now of the questions that I had of myself 5 years ago and where I am today. It's like, if I never would have took that leap, I'm sure, I don't know if regret could be there because you don't have anything to measure it against. Mm-hmm. But now that I've done it, and it's just like, wow, why didn't I do this, earlier? Mm-hmm. But yeah, my whole thing is I enjoy what I do and love it every day.
Yeah.
I think what I've learned, I don't know, I just feel like I was so prepared and ready when I made that switch. So I'm always learning how to run a business, right? Never had run a business before. So understanding the intricacies of that, being mindful of working on the business so that I can grow, it can scale, and not just working in the business, which means that it just depends on me. And, that could lead to burnout and overwhelm. And so, stepping into this kind of CEO, entrepreneur mindset of leading a business, I think, has been the biggest learning for me. And then also, switching from, because I have a coaching business, switching from the person that gives advice to really trying to more so pull out of my clients the solutions that they need to do, the strategies, the ideas, right? I'm used to being a problem solver. So people will come to me, I'm like, oh, go do this, that, and the other. And so making that switch as a coach to say, okay, well, let me draw out of Jordan the answers, because he's got the answers. It's my job to help him find it.
So it's less about you just telling them what they should do, and helping walk them through the steps so they can kind of discover on their own.
Yeah, and it's really around like cleaning out the noise, which could be emotional noise, it could be like whatever. Cleaning out the noise so that they can have that time to really think about, okay, so what do I want, and how do I advance? How do I move forward in a way that gets me closer to what I want in my life?
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. And Kendall, you're about to go into college, right?
Yeah.
Did y'all go to UM yet?
No, we're going
Tomorrow.
tomorrow at 10.
Tomorrow, okay. So if you could pick anywhere to go college, just off rip, where would you want to go?
I mean, it came all the way for me to go to UM, but probably like somewhere in California, like UCLA, like one of the UCs.
Okay, that'd be nice. You know, I got Jada over at UCLA and Jasmine at USC, so everybody go to LA.
LA.
Can visit you all in one plane
swoop.
trip. That would
One
be
fell
nice.
swoop, all the sisters.
That's awesome. Have you thought about like what you want to do, or like major in, or career path?
I would want to study criminology. Or go into
CSI.
psychology.
Mm.
You'll ever see Silence of the Lambs, what Clarice Starling does when she interviews.
Yeah, you like that? Yeah. She loves that movie, Silence of the Lambs.
Loves.
Loves that movie.
Loves.
That's cool. I don't know if I. Excuse me. I don't know if I shared this with you guys, but I want to be like obviously after Scud and all the stuff I'm doing right now. Eventually, I think I want to be a clinical psychologist. Like go back to school, get my doctorate, be a therapist, because I feel like that's something. Like I like to talk to people, listen, offer advice and support, but I want to be able to do it from like a clinical perspective, and I want to be able to do it not where I'm like, all right, I need to make money and da da da.
Yeah.
Almost like, you know, I've kind of had my working career, if you will. Now I'm really just focusing on like giving back in this capacity. I want to be able to do stuff pro bono if I want to, you know. And I just really like. I kind of like education or academia. I feel like I'm a smart guy and I pick it up easy. And I kind of like being in that environment where I'm learning a lot of like interesting things. And so like, I'll be listening to lectures on my own. I'm like, all right, like if I like this, like I feel like I have a passion for it. I want to be able to use it to serve the community. I really think eventually one day I want to do that.
That'd be nice.
I don't know when exactly. It just, you know, whenever it makes sense. But right now I'm focusing on, you know, working
You got
and all
lots
that.
of stuff going
Right.
on. And you can talk to Josh. Josh was going to school for psychology.
He was?
Yeah.
Thanks. We just all going to school for psychology now.
Right. I mean, my dad got a psychology degree, whatever that means. But I'm talking about like, yeah, like I really want to be a clinical psychologist. I think that would be
So
pretty
you
cool.
guys could start a business together.
Scales and Jones
Uh-oh.
and
Yes.
Associates. Scales, Jones and Associates.
And associates, right. It reminds me when you were little and I was
and Scott.
and I
K-
was-
K Money and Smoke.
Yes. Yep.
when I was pregnant and you said, is the baby gonna have, you remember that? Is
What'd
the
I
baby
say?
gonna have the same last name as me?
Oh,
You remember that?
no, I don't remember that.
Yeah, you said, is the baby
you had
gonna
to give
have
that look like she gives it me.
He said, yeah, you said, is the baby gonna have the same last name as me? And I said no, the baby will have Cliff's last name. And you said, well, how will anybody know that she's my sister? You remember?
I do remember that.
And I said, I've got 17 last names and none of them are the same as yours. And there is no question that I am your mom. So there's not going to be any question that she's going to be your sister. And you were okay with that answer. You were like, because you're so easy. You're like,
Right.
Ah, fair enough. Like,
Hold on.
that makes sense.
So
Sounds
then
good.
you have to say how man reacted to you being in Schaumburg and him saying, I want to go home.
Oh, geez. I remember when we first moved to Schaumburg and, you know, ready to start this whole new life. And, you know, I'm nervous and excited and just
Yeah.
like I'm away from family. I'm in the city that I don't know. And probably about the second day that we were there, and you were like, you know, you were enjoyed the apartment, and then a couple of days later, you're like, okay, so when are we gonna go home? Which was grandma's house. You're like,
Yeah.
when are we gonna go home? And I'm like, we are home, you know, because I'm just like, he hates it. I packed him up and moved him on, and you know, he hates it here. And of course, you know, I'm like, you know, you are home, and you're like, oh, okay. You know, just super easy, super easy.
Man,
Super
that's-
easy.
shout out to Schaumburg
Schaumburg.
for welcoming
Yeah,
us.
for welcoming
Yes.
us, yeah.
International Village.
International Village.
Man, that's crazy. Schaumburg, Fuddruckers, you know. Remember we would go there and get the cookies?
In Bennigan's, remember
Bennigan's? Yeah, when they
For
could.
that brownie
Bottom pie.
So good.
Come on. So good.
That was back when you could smoke in restaurants. That's how
Remember
long
that?
we've been. Yeah.
Remember that?
They'd be like, smoking or non?
And he like, right,
Like, non.
nah, please. And
And
of
this
course,
is
you
the
still can smell it.
Right.
I think that's the best part. You really start to go back and you talk about even like airplanes. And it's like from a mental capacity, we were, I won't say duped or fooled, but it's just like smoking or non, and you're like, okay, non-smoking, but you still were going to get smoked.
Right,
Like,
it's in the
Right.
building.
It's in the
Right.
building.
I never understood that. I remember I was watching Twilight Zone and they were smoking in the plane. I was like, there was a time you
Used
could
to
smoke
do
on a
that.
plane.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or they'd be like, oh, you could smoke at the back of the plane. What does that do?
Right.
You were in the back of the plane. Everyone in like the first aisle is going to be
Yeah,
able to
they're gonna
smell
smell
that.
And it's interesting. You get places now that where you could smoke, and then now you can't. But when you go into it, it smells just bad. Like you know this place they used to smoke, and it's just like, goodness, how do we like? And then we talk about our health and things like that. And it's like if people go to this restaurant once a week, like they're smoking a pack of cigarettes
Right.
all the time.
Secondhand smoke and all that.
Jeez.
I will say that's one of the things I've seen culturally that's been like a positive. Like we kind of eliminated, well, not eliminated, but made it like
Yeah, a
a lot compared to like European countries. Because when I went to Spain, they were smoking like everybody was smoking. Like it was just regular.
Everybody. I remember playing basketball over there, and halftime, guys would light one up. Just like,
Like,
there's
y'all-
no way. There's no, but it's like it gave a confidence. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way this guy who's smoking 2 cigarettes is gonna
Beat me up and down the court.
There's no way. There's no way.
Right? That's
No way.
crazy. Man, we've really been through a lot together as a family, honestly.
We have.
What was our first like family vacation with Kendall? Was that Bahamas?
I think
Oh,
it
it
was
was
Disney.
It was Disney, then Mexico.
Oh, Disney.
I was like, what, 7?
I think it was
Yeah,
6.
It was New
Well,
Year's.
I'll put it this way: whatever way it was, and this is not for parents who have little kids, but we weren't going through that. We were literally like, you had to be able to walk, you had to be able to.
Oh,
do
yeah.
some things.
Seriously though.
You had to
Right.
remember it.
Right.
Like we're not
Couldn't
going.
be
We weren't going to take you
strollers.
to Disney
Right.
at 2.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
It was just too
Right.
much work.
It's-
That was our first family trip. And then like when you guys got older, remember how we would always have like a nice dinner when we go on vacation, and I would say something like, okay, so let's say what everybody appreciates
Shakes.
about one another, and you guys would be like, oh God, she's making us say this.
But honestly though, when I look back on those moments, they are nice. Like forcing, like articulate something you love about your brother or your sister. Like
Yep.
I think that's important
I mean, you guys still gave me a hard time about it, but
for sure.
Of course.
But I think looking back is the right decision. So
all right. So next time we go somewhere together.
I'm not gonna groan.
All right, thank you.
Kendall?
You all heard it here. Not gonna
Yes.
groan. Kendall?
I don't know. I feel like I almost have to. As like the youngest. I don't know. It doesn't feel right for like, oh, mom's like, what do we appreciate about each other? We're all like, oh, so like, no, I feel like I have to be like,
this feels unnatural.
Mom, we're in the middle of a restaurant. I feel like if I don't, then like,
You guys give me the hardest
We got
time.
the good appetizers coming.
I'm trying to eat my bread.
I mean, I don't know. We'd be at Ruth Chris overlooking the bay. It's like I'm feeling kind of grateful and feel like saying I love my sister and my family. It's a good time for that. I'm not gonna lie.
Feeling kind of grateful as we look over the Pacific Ocean.
Right, passing. They're bringing out the lobster mac and cheese and
Right.
the steak on the hot plate is still cooking.
Yeah.
Still sizzling.
Yeah, like I remember we were in maybe it was we were in Hawaii, and I had that moment. I was like, man, this is really nice. I'm so grateful for this moment. We're just sitting there eating Ruth Chris
We've
in Hawaii.
In Hawaii. Celebrating your graduation.
Yeah, that's when I graduated college,
You
right?
graduated from college. Yeah.
It was easy.
Dang, you graduated college.
It's
I
interesting.
forget how old he is sometimes.
It's interesting because growing up, like creativity, entrepreneurship, school came easy to you, but I don't know that I would necessarily say that you love it. So it's been great that since you've graduated from college to just see you just really just thirsty for knowledge and learning new things and challenging the status quo and how things are. Because I think, Cliff and I, which is an adjustment I had to make too. It's just kind of like, okay, I know that these are the things that I've experienced. And so, I'm quick to be like, oh, but Jay, you got to think this way and that way. And so that's an adjustment that I've had to make because it's like, well, no, that's not necessarily
his way.
your way, or just because that's in the rule books or the pathway like that doesn't make it the right way. And so I think anytime a parent makes that adjustment when the child goes from being under your tutelage, for less lack of a better word, to being on their own, there's always this tension that comes as they're trying to figure out their own way. And so that's always been something hard to navigate through, because one, as an adult, we're just like, no, but we can see 17 steps ahead. Like we do, like, yes, there might be a different way to get there, but at the end of the day, the theme is the same. Like, that's a train. That's not like a light. There's not just as light at the end of the tunnel. It's a train. And so there is this desire to always protect. But I appreciate, the fact that you want to learn, and this creativity that you've developed as a result of, going through your own experiences. That, that's been really great. It's been teaching us too.
Thanks. Yeah, I never considered myself like a creative until like recently. Like, even growing up, I never was drawing, or I never was editing anything. I just played sports for real and played Xbox with the guys. And then I don't know, I think there was just a switch that I had where I was like, I can do anything I want to do. So I started just listening to more podcasts, and I was like, oh, I kind of like this. Started like kind of just chopping it up with my friends. I'd be like, we have really interesting conversations. Like, we like to look up things and question narratives or whatever. It's like, why can't I do something like this? And then with the internet, it just makes everything so much more like, I'll just YouTube it and figure it out,
Sure.
I feel like it's really empowering, the internet and the time that we're living in. But I feel like a lot of times some people have in their mind that, like I had, like, limiting beliefs. Oh, I'm not creative. Oh, I don't, like, this isn't my lane. Like, I don't do this. When in reality, it's like, I'll just reinvent myself. Like,
yeah, you can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, maybe I wasn't a podcaster last year, but I am now. Like that.
Right.
That's pretty inspiring, but also it's like motivating too, to show like, wow, I did that. Like, what else can I do?
What else can I do? Yeah, absolutely. And that's the biggest challenge. It's like, it's what we tell ourselves that gets in the way of our greatness, right? And so it's like, if we take off those limits, if we take off the ways in which we are choosing to keep ourselves small, there's just like a world of opportunity that we just can tap into. I mean, you think about Cliff's experience, and this, I'm gonna make a joke, but this is another experience of if he just would have listened to me, he would have got there sooner. But you think about, like, Cliff's. When Cliff and I met, I knew he hated his job, and it was just kind of like, I knew that he loved sports, like he loved, and I didn't know that it was having his own thing, his own coaching business, but I just knew that wasn't it. I mean, we had talked about him doing like a blog thing about sports, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if you said it or I said it. Maybe it was your idea. I was like, you can call it Cliff Notes, right?
That's
a cute
that's
little
marketing geniuses in here.
Yes. But it wasn't until Cliff had enough that he was just kind of like, he was willing to say, well, I am interested in this, and I remember, I was okay if I say this, but he was just like, what if I fail? And I was like, well, what if you don't? Right? And it's just like, what if you don't fail? Think about how you will feel every day going to work. And, what I appreciate about his business, how I describe it to other people, is I said he teaches character skills for youth through basketball. And I think for him, I don't even know that you necessarily saw yourself as a person who would want to, so redirect me if I'm wrong, as a person who like wanted to invest in kids that way. Like, I never sensed you being the person, like, you loved your kids, but never was like, I'm going to somebody else's house, I'm going to roll in the backyard. So it's been great to see you evolve into, yes, I love basketball, but this commitment to these kids to think basketball is a tool, but there's character skills in this process that I'm looking to develop that you can take anywhere. These are life skills. They aren't skills. Just basketball is the pathway and the tool to learning these skills. But he always gets text messages and talking about how his how appreciative the parents are for the ways in which he imparts in them, and so that's been really great to see, because I don't know that when you went into it, I would have thought that would have been as important to you as it has become.
And it was organic. Like, literally wasn't anything that I really thought about. I think the funny thing about that too is when I started it was and I forgot the age group that I was looking at, but it was just boys. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's it.
you know I had a problem with
Right,
that.
right. But it's like I'm not coaching girls,
All right.
and I probably have more girls now than I do boys.
And he loves working with the girls.
Yeah.
Yep. So I mean, because there is, and people talk about it, is like maybe from an athletic standpoint, meaning how high you jump and things like that are different. But you would take the young ladies, and they really they listen. Where the guy, I think, from an athletic standpoint, just think I can skip steps and get to wherever I'm trying to get to, whereas the young ladies do not. But your mother's right. It's the same thing. Like when she looks at you, and she's always saying, "I'm appreciative of you getting outside your comfort zone. You getting outside and like, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this," and you go about that. And I think that was one thing for me. I'm like, I don't know what I can do, but this is the job I'm doing. This is the task, so this is what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. And it was like, but I would still do it.
Right.
And your mother basically is telling me, you can have that job that you want to do, but actually enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
And bada boom, there you go.
Bang, it happens.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny because it's another me saying I appreciate y'all. I'm like, I can take risks because I know I have y'all to fall back on. So I was like, yeah, I don't mind moving to Miami and doing things like I got a business and investing, blah blah blah, whatever, because I know I have a safety net. So I wouldn't say that. I say that it kind of sounds kind of weird to say it like that.
Yeah, but you're not the type of person that, like, since you've left, since you graduated from college, you don't ask us for money. You don't, you do things on your own. And so I also felt like I had a safety net. Cliff felt like he had a safety, with your parents. Yes. We always want you to know that
you can always come home.
You can always come home. We're always going to have your back. However, what we don't want to create is dependency.
Right.
And you've never been in a position where I'm telling Cliff like, oh gosh, Jay's asking for money again. That's never been that wasn't what we were trying to raise you to be. But I'm grateful that you are sharing with us that you feel like you have the space to try things and because like Cliff always says, like, we're going to let you in the deep end, but we're not gonna let you drown.
Right.
Like you might tread water.
Mm-hmm.
You might struggle. You might struggle, but you're not drowning.
Yep.
So, I'm glad that you feel that way. How you feel, Kendall? How you feel about that? You feel like?
Yeah, I feel like y'all always been supportive. Also, the fact that I don't live at home, either. Except I left a lot earlier than Jay did.
Mm-hmm, you did.
Right. 4 years earlier. And honestly, Kendall, you, like I said, $4. You can hit me up for money too. You don't even have to ask the rent. So
okay, that was a joke. That was just $4, but
But we also think too, it's what your mom has tried to do for you guys. It's like when you learn something at a certain age. Mm-hmm. For us, saving money was at a certain age. Then we passed that along to you at a little younger age. Then it's passing on to Kendall at even a younger age. And it's those, I think, experiences as parents that we start to see the opportunities. And I think those give you, obviously you started the business first. But when you start looking at it in the business model of seeing it kind of every day, you get the opportunity to see that almost on a grander scale. Mm-hmm. Today, all of this, it's coming to work with me, seeing what I do, seeing what mom does every day. And I think those experiences should give you just a little bit more of a mindset like there's nothing that I can't do, or even better, that I can at least try.
Try, yeah, absolutely.
That's the biggest thing I find from all of this.
Yeah.
And I think, Jay, you have to understand too, it's like you're an inspiration. There's no way like you go to the stew before this stew,
yeah,
rap, do things like that. And it's just like that takes a, what do I want to call it? not an understanding, but
Courage?
courage. But you're comfortable within your own skin. So yeah, everyone, looks at other people's opinions and things like that. But I think what you've done is, there's going to be other people's opinions, but yours is the one that matter. So you do what you do, however that goes. And at the end of the day, you're pleased, you're happy with your life and what you're doing in the direction that it's going. And even better, if you don't, you pivot and you do something else. And I think that's for me. Like, I look at you as an inspiration. I look at you as, that's my son. Look what he does. Look how he does it. And then it's I would say funny, but it's us going on trips. And we talked about this the other day, parasailing.
Oh, God.
But it's me. It's some fears that I may have. But as a parent, I have a certain, I guess, mindset to say, I'm going to get on this parasail. I'm going to die. I know I am. But if my son says he wants to get on the parasail, I got it. We're good.
Because mama ain't going.
Mom
Mama is
not
going to
going.
say she wants to go.
But
but the hour before, I'm going to say, no, I'm good.
That's definitely the mom script right
But,
there.
but for me, it is being that parent, being that go-to. But as much as I feel that I'm a go-to, you're a go-to to me. Same with you, Kendall. It's understanding you, understanding things that I know you like, I don't want to do that, but you do it. I mean, we went on vacation and the slide.
Oh, man.
And
The
it went
Bahamas.
straight down in the Bahamas.
Oh, yeah.
Went straight down. And I never forget. I get on it, and we finally get there, because it's one thing seeing it far away, and then it's another thing being straight up. And it was a father and a daughter, and the daughter was like, I'm not doing it. And they was like, oh, well, you can go this way, back out, and leave. And I was like, oh, Kendall's going to do this because I'm not doing this. And they asked her, and she was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, dang it.
We gonna die.
We gonna die.
I remember looking and watching you go down the slide. I was trying to look over it. I was like, where
Right.
did he go?
It
was so straight down. I was like, where'd he go?
But you got to think, that's what I'm saying to you guys. It's I've grown from your strength. I've taken that. Because I would have. You said no to the parasail. Whew, got out of that one. You said no to the, got out of that one. But it is looking at my kids and saying, if y'all can do it. And I know a lot of times it's supposed to be the other way. But I do think for myself, it's like, I don't have the ego where it has to be certainly like that. I'm sure your mom may disagree at certain things, but I think you guys see me like, it doesn't have to be Cliff's way. Doesn't have to be Globbert's way. I kind of go along to get along, but ultimately it is kind of what you guys want or like. And even with your mom, I may not like it in the beginning, but I come around because I understand it's not about me. It's about you guys, your happiness, how you feel. And if me going along with that and participating in that gives you that feeling of that joy, then who am I to deny that? That's, in that sense, that's selfish.
Guess I'm selfish because I get nervous.
Right, mama she'll talk about snorkeling for so long, years, and then we get that
Skydiving. She talks about skydiving as long as I can remember. I'm going to do it for my 40th birthday.
Parasailing. All these. I'm more adventurous in my mind than
in real life.
in real life.
That's why they're making the metaverse, so you can do stuff like that at the house.
Virtual reality.
We never talked about the in Italy, the scooters.
Oh Lord, what happened?
This one's funny.
Oh, this is a good one. Oh, man doesn't know the scooter story? What is it, Vespa?
The Vespa.
So we had a Vespa
This is
trip,
awesome.
a Vespa excursion
Yes.
in the rolling hills of Italy.
Yes.
And, me and Leslie, we plan the trip. And so they teach us how to use the Vespa for like 30 seconds. And
Okay,
so everybody
it's a
has
minute.
a minute, right? So everybody gets on and the guy shows them how to do it. And I didn't do it right.
So it's just like a regular scooter, or like
It
what?
was a regular scooter, and I didn't feel comfortable, so I was like, nope, I ain't doing it.
So you got on with Globbert or what?
I got on with my Italian guy. You know,
Guide.
I thought of myself as like this 25-year-old in Italy holding on to my Italian boyfriend as we were going through these.
You're with your husband.
Dang.
Hear
These
that, right?
roads, and I was so glad that I made that decision because, like, as soon as we pulled out, it was like this big old truck, and I was like, I know I would have died. Like, I would have ran right into it. So I punked out.
I think
I punked out.
you punked out before that, but there was someone that, because you, like she said, you practice, and a person ran into a barn.
She ran into a barn.
Man,
And you was like, that's gonna
I'm
be
out.
me.
yeah,
No.
because he was already going down that road, but then it was like, okay, I might be able to do this. Then next thing you know, boom, like, yeah, nah, not
ran to
gonna
a
do that.
Barn.
Man.
I'm not gonna do that.
Again.
I don't want to die.
Right. So
And that's me and mine was on the Segways in, was that New York? Or was
No,
that
that's in
Chicago?
Chicago.
Yeah, I can't believe we were driving the Segways. You can't drive the scooter because them Segways.
Segway seemed
That's
more
like,
difficult
yeah, you gotta
than-
like lean and do
But I
this
felt
and
like
that.
we were, you know what?
Yeah, a
I
little
felt
bit more
really
control.
good. I felt like we had more control. We were on the sidewalk and not with, but I did think that you were going to die at one point. And I remember thinking
she
like,
talked about over a
because you
cliff.
were going over like going down this hill.
It was fast.
And you were heading down to the like parked cars, and I'm sitting there like, there's nothing I could do. He's going to run into these cars, and there's no brake on this Segway, and you made it.
Of course, there's a break. You just lean back.
Lean back.
But it was scary at the
It
time.
was
huh,
scary.
Mom?
It was scary. I was scared for you.
Yeah, that's what- I know,
I
right.
couldn't protect you. So.
Mom has, I don't know if it's anxiety or what it is, but you be freaking out, but maintaining composure at the same time. I remember we're driving. I'm over here driving, and she's like on a conference call. A regular, like, I come to a stop. She's like, oh, grab me, like, but like her voice doesn't change at all. She's like talking, but like freaking out.
She
in
does
the
that to this
passenger
day.
seat.
Now that I'm driving, she does it to this
She
day.
does
But
that.
her thing now is if she doesn't think I'm braking fast enough, she stomps on the dashboard. I'm so serious.
Like
She'll
she-
pick her foot up and
like there's
stomp
ano-
on the dashboard.
Like there's another
Another
she's
break,
in the driver car.
Yeah.
Like, she can like, but she does that to me.
I was in Starbucks. I was like going through Starbucks drive-through, and she didn't think I was going like slow enough. She's on the phone. She's like, "I'm sorry. I'm like teaching my daughter how to drive." She's like, you have like with the brake on and stuff. Her voice is like staying the same, and I'm like,
Right? I mean, that's
And inside, I was
real
like
professional.
exploding.
That's
I
very
was exploding.
professional.
Like,
I think
oh
you
my
understand. I'm like,
Mom,
I'm
you're
not,
like a-
I don't think I'm gonna kill us. I think I know what I'm doing enough, or like I might be okay. You can continue your conference call. Like, me personally, I think I'm a decent driver.
Yeah.
And then mom starts stomping on the dashboard, and then she's like, "Why are you all nervous? You're stomping on the dashboard. You're like grabbing everything around you, like."
yeah, she does grab.
Raising people's hypertension, blood pressure and
That-
stuff, Mom.
I'm
I
doing the
actually
Uber
get-
today.
I actually get like that. Like I'm cool and calm, and she says like, I don't feel that you're
Braking
fast enough. So when she doesn't feel that, she goes and she'll say things, and I'm just like, maybe I missed something.
Yeah.
Like maybe I missed something. And I'm like, I know I'm looking, I know I see, and maybe I missed something. And she'll be like, whoa. And I'll be like,
Yeah, I'll be like, what?
I'll
What
be
is
like, what happened? Like I get, what happened?
Right, making me nervous.
And I'm like, you can't be talking about me driving right here because I'm good.
Nothing
I got this. There's nothing there. And I'm just like, are you serious?
Oh,
like, is this what we're doing right now?
She
But,
did that in
yeah.
the Uber today. There
She
was
did.
a truck merging into the lane next to us.
Oh.
I'm like, Jesus! In the backseat and everything.
I was like just resting. I just had my head back and I was just like, you know what? I'm not even gonna worry about it. And I saw a truck go past and I'm just like, I'm sure we was gonna
Oh.
die.
So funny.
Based
Oh, you
on
mean based on how I?
Right, not, it could have. I was like, I thought it might have been a bicycle guy. Just
Right.
I was just like, I know we weren't, but according to her, I know like she thought we was just. We were never gonna make it to Smoky Mirror.
Yeah, Mom, we gotta be careful. Like,
I'm
just
trying.
just-
deep breaths.
I tried.
Breathe. I always with
I
the
feel
kids.
like I've gotten worse as I've gotten
You
older.
have. Yes. Breathe in through the nose,
Eat
out through
the
the mouth.
mouth, right?
In, out. Yeah,
We
you
just
got it.
can't
You got
drive
it.
with Mom anywhere.
No. No.
That's so funny.
Nope.
Oh, I
it-
said like, oh, let me drive Tito's car. She's like, it doesn't matter about the car. I'm like, no, let me drive with him in his car because he won't stomp on the dashboard.
And not to mention, Mother, you're the one who ran into my car, backing out the driveway, and
There's
They do
a couple
that.
They don't
things.
put me on I'm blessed.
Well, we're just saying, we're talking about people driving and
Right.
Part of my trauma.
Oh, that's
She went just go straight to the car.
no, it's
now,
trauma.
look, now we found the answer.
Part of my
We have
trauma.
found the
I
answer.
know, because what happened? Like, your car, my car was parked behind yours.
You weren't
I
used to
think
it. It was when
because
Jay first
usually
got his car.
I park on the left side. Maybe I was on the right
and
this
you were
time.
on the right,
But
and
this
I wasn't
this
expecting
is the best
it.
part. And how many years ago was that?
I don't know.
That was a while. I mean, back when I was
God, like when you were
But
my
that's
age,
the
like
point
10
that
years
I'm
ago.
making.
yeah.
Now, never would happen. Every bell, whistle thing in the car goes off.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So you would never have to worry about that anymore. And I
backup
think half the
cameras
time
and-
that's like some of the problem, because now people, you don't think. You just already know, like, I can just bag up because something goes.
Right. It didn't beep or
Like,
it's not vibrating, so I'm good.
Right. So back then you actually had to like watch what you were doing, pay attention to it, but don't worry about it, baby. You're good.
You're good, Mom.
You're good. Just make sure.
I was driving on the highway at 3 in the morning because I had to get my like driving time. We had to go to the airport. So it's like 3 in the morning, right? There's like no cars on the thing. And there's a truck merging over here. And so I'm like looking to so if it can like merge. Mom's in the back having like a whole panic attack. He throws in
And
the
we
front seat,
feel
like
that.
trying to keep it like, he's trying to keep me calm. He's like, oh yeah, this what you're about to like merge into this lane. Mom's over here in the back. Oh my God. Jesus, grabbing on everything around us. And I'm like, you're making me more nervous.
I always want to
Help
know,
me.
like, what does that do though? So, like, when we do hit that truck in the middle, like, what does grabbing?
What did
like,
you grabbing,
what do
like,
you
stomping
grab?
on the dashboard
like, what does
do?
that Like, to me, you're gonna break your leg, like, even more, because now you got your leg up.
It's just
and
a,
you
just
hit
the mom
automatic
arm?
response.
Automatic response.
Right.
It's an automatic
arm bar.
response.
You're
The
gonna
arm
fly
bar.
through the arm.
I'm always covering you guys up when you're in the passenger
Protective.
seat. Protective.
If we did hit a car crash, we would snap your arm in half, flying forward. But you know,
I see mother sacrificing herself for us. True,
Thank
true
you, Jay.
motherhood.
Thank you,
True-
mother.
True motherhood. Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you.
I wanted to bring this up too because I feel like when I was doing the podcast originally, I started last November. I was like, actually, let me take a step back. I feel like throughout my life, there's always been a point where I'm like trying to get something and I'm stressing about it and it's making me nervous. And then I get it, I'm like, finally I can chill. But at the same time, it's like not chill as in chill with the work, but chill as in I can take the pressure off myself. And so that like one was like getting a scholarship, going to college. The next one was like so I'm stressing about it. Oh my God, I want to play football. I want to do all this. Then I get the scholarship to Pittsburgh. I'm like, oh, cool. Phew, I made it. Like I got to where the status, air quotes, that I felt like I should have been at. Same thing with working. I was like, man, I wanted to work for Deloitte or like some consulting company. I didn't get it. And then I had an option with Aldi and I did with TFA, whatever. I had something locked up. So then now that I'm like in my adult life, it's like, all right, I do have my regular career, but it's always been a thing. Like, I just want to be like, I don't know if it was better, richer. Like it's like a status thing I was chasing. I don't know, but it just felt like, oh, I'm this old. I have nothing to show for it. And somehow in this past month, like when I got a whole bunch of followers on Instagram. Like, I don't know. I didn't like this, but I just felt a lot better about myself because my work felt like it was getting validated. And I felt some kind of way about that. I was like, man, like, I don't want to be like extrinsically motivated. And I don't want to be constantly looking at things other people are doing and like putting pressure on myself. Like, oh, I need to accomplish this. Or I need to.
Is it comparing?
I think it was a little bit of a comparing. I don't know. I was like, man, I feel so much better now that I have a bunch of followers because it's like validating my work. But it's like, why couldn't I just felt good about it before? You know, not that I felt bad, but I don't know.
I think the goal is to have a balance. I think
Yeah.
we all look for external validation, right? When I talk to my clients and they're like, oh, this was a great session, that makes me feel great. It makes me feel like the work is acknowledged. I think that the danger comes in is if we over index either way, right? If we really don't care, and so sometimes which is great, but then it's just like, are you achieving those milestones because you don't have the external affirmation that what you're doing is right, it's needed, people are responding to it, and it all depends on what it is. Or if you're always externally validated, which means that you're always chasing likes and you're always chasing someone telling you that you're good. I think a healthy confidence recognizes that there's a ramp. And it's recognizing that, yes, I've got goals. That's the external piece of it. Like, I want to be successful at my podcast. I want to be successful at Instagram. There's milestones that I need to hit for that, right? And so it's how do we create that really good balance of being confident, but still having goals that may include external validation as part of the milestone. It's when we get too attached to the outcomes when it becomes a problem. Like, if I don't get X amount of followers, if I don't grow my business, then it becomes some indication of our self-worth. Right? So when we get too attached to the outcomes, then it's like, oh, my self-worth is so tied to, if I don't hit this particular goal, then it means that I'm not good enough. Right?
Yeah.
And so how do we become mindful of, be goal oriented, go for that, whatever it is that you want, but then don't get so attached to it that your self-worth, your self-identity, your sense of self is tied to it in a way that's unhealthy.
I feel, anybody else? I didn't know if Kendall, Clyde.
Yeah, I'm in that realm to a certain degree, but I have to say, watching podcasts, getting some things on Instagram from whether it's quotes and different things like that, I've started to, I almost look at it like it doesn't matter that I get validation. It matters how I feel about myself and what I'm doing. Because I think for me, I know if I do what I'm supposed to do, the passion and everything that I bring to it, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where my mindset is now. I'll say it and we make jokes, but like I think the other day, or a week or so ago, I was talking about this is my best month. And I would look at it, but I don't necessarily really go crazy about it because I do understand that I offer a service. And so it's not just up to me. It's up to others as well. But I just go back to do it the way you're supposed to do it. I think that I'm apprehensive about Instagram and all those different things. And it's twofold. One, I've never done it. Two, I look at it and I don't want to say I don't want to learn or I don't want to do certain things, but I know how I am. And when you talk about simple, and I'm a simple guy, and I can take where I was 5 years ago into where I am now and be like, wow, I've followers, people, conversations about me grown exponentially. And it's like, just keep doing what you're doing. Where my issue comes into play a little bit, and I know your mother kind of has the same mindset for me, just like when I was working. She was like, but you can do it maybe a different way or a more efficient way. So that could be Instagram or Facebook or whatever the case, whatever that is. But in terms of your question, it's more like I don't look for validation from others. And I don't know if I ever was really like that, to be honest with you. I'm good in my own skin, and I understand what I bring to the table, and I understand when I'm putting forth an effort and when I'm not putting forth the effort, and I'm able to kind of reflect on that. So it's like, I'm using yours as an example to say, I didn't get this many followers, but I can also look back and be like, well, I didn't do this, 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 and this. Then it's like, oh, I got all these followers, and it's like, yep, I know what I did. I know exactly the job I did, and that's who I am, how I go about doing things. So I've been fortunate enough just in my upbringing, just who I am as a person, that never has really been my issue. And I think, and I'm saying all this because even with your mom, she wish I did. There's a certain ambition or a certain drive that I think at times I don't have that you wish I had.
I think it's more so about, yes, and it's more so because for me, it's like I see potential. And so it's maximize the potential. And I'd like to clarify, I think we were talking less about Instagram validation and more about like.
I was just saying validation just in general. Like it wasn't necessarily.
Yes, and so I just wanted to clarify. Like I don't really care about, like I don't even do Instagram stuff. Like
No,
that
but
stuff doesn't matter. But it's more so like.
But we talk about how to enhance what you do. So like the kids were talking about the pictures that their business, or I forgot the terminology that they would use in terms of they're not yours. They're what would you call it?
I thought
like somebody else's, like basic stuff. Like you would go for your presentations and just get stock photos,
art,
stock photos and things like that. And it's like, okay, instead of that, it's you on there. It's you having those things.
Right.
And so I'm saying that's more, if you want to say, a technical issue, if you will. Not that you're not on Instagram. And I would say for myself, I have a person that I work with, and it's like, he's like, he wants me out there more, have my face on there.
Yeah.
And so we kind of started doing that, and you see people, and I get different commentary back because they do see me, but it's like, I just want to work. Like that's what I want to do. That's how I want to do it. If somebody wants to bring in lights, camera, action, then I'm all for that as well. But that's not necessarily my thing, if you will. And I just know that I'm going to put forth that effort and that work, and in turn, I'll get that quote unquote validation. So that's kind of where I am in that scenario.
And I do agree too. It's like, are we missing steps? Like, did we do everything we were supposed to do to get to whatever? Like, because I've had experiences too where I'm just like, if I don't really, whatever happens at the end of this, I've grown in the process. I've done everything I could, based on what I've known. I know that I've stretched, and whatever is going to be, like, that's the win. The fact that I tried it, got outside my comfort zone, did something new, took the steps, and then whatever's going to be is going to be. But like, I've grown in the process. And so it's like, sometimes I get to the point where I celebrate getting to the end, and I'm just like, oh wait, there's more to do. Like, I'm just so proud of myself that I've gotten here, that it's just kind of like, oh yeah, wait, girl, you got to keep on going. There's other things, but
I really am. I guess like I'm proud of the podcast. I was just looking like retrospectively, like, why is it now all of a sudden I'm feeling so good? But it's like, I guess it's natural. Like I got, people are gravitating towards it. I think that's natural. So,
and some of it comes with maturity too.
Yeah.
Right. You get older. You all have the whole media, like all that stuff. Like I can't even imagine growing up in the same spaces that you all are. Like there's so much pressure that you all have. Either created externally or created as a result of social media, et cetera. Like, I don't even know how, I can only imagine how challenging it is to navigate. And so I think part of it is you've grown up at a time where there's been a different standard of validation. And then you have to kind of figure out, what is my place in that? And as you're growing your confidence, where you can get to a point where you're just like, I'm good no matter what I do, but it is a process. And part of it is learning and trying, getting outside your comfort zone, having wins, and then just growing as a person and maturing as a person in the process to realize that, yes, that can be a goal, but it doesn't have to be how I define myself.
Nice. That's very well said, Mother. Kendall, how are you feeling right now?
I agree with what's been said. I feel like it's the society we grew up in, kind of like, well, like we did, where it's like Instagram, the media, the validation's always where everything comes from, because that's just what you see. That's what we grew up around. So it's like, that's where everything that you guys just said comes from.
And I especially worry about you being a girl, like, the way that
fashion,
the pressure that there's always been pressure for women and girls, always, the way society has been established. It's even worse now, I feel. And so I worry about you as a 16-year-old young lady, like, oh my gosh, like sometimes I'm just like, am I even equipped to be able to help you navigate through these things? 'Cause I have no idea what it's like. And so Jay's older, but particularly particularly because I am a girl, right? It's just like I know the pressures that we have. And so I'm just like, I don't want these people making my baby feel any kind of way about herself because they're all stupid and live in their mom's basements. Like,
Right.
like that's how I feel about it.
Nice. Well, we're almost at time, so I guess we'll wrap it up. But, I've just been really appreciative of you guys on my journey. One day we'll look back and be like, remember we did that first episode? Now look how much we've grown.
It's just beginning.
Yeah.
No, it's just beginning, and we're grateful to be a part of it, and we are super proud of you.
Thank you.
Proud of you.
Yes,
little
Kendall.
girl.
Very proud.
Yes. Yeah.
Love all around.
Love all around.
Could I get a Crab, Mr. Crabtree?
Yes. All right. Hold tight. Let me get the guys so we can take a picture.